Amritsar had only, I don't know, 15, 20, 12 pens, aircraft pens. Now, that 32 squadron which had fought the war from Amritsar was not willing to vacate. They wanted to continue till the end. They knew the war was nearing. Finally, they were made to vacate and our squadron moved in. But I only did a couple of recce flights in Amritsar when on 17th the ceasefire was declared. That's what happened. So I also remembered that we had also gone to operate from western sector. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Brigadier Saab. Thank you.
Absolutely correct, sir, what you have said. And hats off to the Air Force. Well done, sir. Excellent.
Oh, I think is the bulk. Actually, the bulk of the work goes to army because see, face to face, we never come across the army. For us, it is only, shall we say, it's in imagination the enemy, but we don't see the enemy in that sense. Except some aircraft we engage in the aircraft in the air, then it is different. Amazing, very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brigadier Apte sir. I think we need to know a lot about ground operations, and we are thinking of calling you also to be a speaker to understand all about ground operations part during 71 because you happen to be on both the sides of the border, and you, as you rightly say, that you blindfolded that flight lieutenant also. I think you made a history of itself. So we will be requesting Patek Sab and we will be requesting you for one session, sir. I think that would give a lot of clarity in us because you are an expert. All the times you are adding colors or adding value to our discussions. So wonderful, sir. Hats off to you,
Absolutely.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, TDS.
Yes, sir. Patek sir, let's open the forum for others before you speak. You may kindly speak. DW Patek sir.
Mr. TBR, can I just make one point?
Kindly, sir. Kindly welcome, sir.
Nayyar sir, as far as the deployment of a squadron at Jessore was concerned, if you permit me, I'll just amplify. There was no squadron which physically got deployed in Jessore at the airfield, at least till the surrender took place on the 17th. 30 squadron had moved out. 22 squadron had got deployed on ORP platforms at Dum Dum Airport. And as you very correctly said, the thinning out of the Air Force commenced from 10th December onwards. However, the squadron continued there because I tell you, our medium regiment, 78 medium regiment, knocked out the ACT, the air control tower at Jessore Airfield, on the 8th of December. We captured Jessore on 7th morning. The firing on the ACT had commenced as part of the artillery bombardment on the 6th. And here I must compliment the Indian Air Force for the close air support that we got in the number of fighter bomber missions on Jessore and at a place called Ramnagar. It was absolutely superb. And the bomb lines which we put on the fire plant task tables were very accurately well defined. So that is a major point of concern for listeners, that unless the bomb line is clearly demarcated, sometimes the airstrikes can be a threat to the ground forces who are closing in onto the objective. And like the artillery fire lifts at 200 meters, the bomb line is a safe line up to 1 kilometer because it's difficult to pinpoint targets from the air. But that air effort was superb. So after that, when the ACT had been knocked out, as very correctly brought out by Nayyar sir, the Air Force requirement diminished and thinning out of the Air Force squadrons had commenced from the 9th and 10th of December. But the squadron landing at Jessore did not take place, at least to the best of our knowledge, till 17 December, because we were racing towards Khulna and Jessore was held by us, by one of the battalion groups which was securing Jessore for forming a pivot for the subsequent movement, because there was some talk of 2 corps making a diversionary offensive onto Dhaka after crossing the ferry. But that also didn't happen because we were hit hard by the 107 Brigade outside Siramani, Daulatpur, Giltala and Shamganj. So the final battle was a stiff one to capture Khulna. So these are my little small additions to what Nayyar sir had said.
Sir,
thank you, sir.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Because you people are hand to hand, face to face. And my 2 questions are, first thing, I was told, because I was based in Panagar and we had an army controlled POW camp also, which I wanted to visit, but the colonel in charge said no. Don't go. You will not be happy. So okay. So then he told us, he said, what happens when we are face to face with the enemy army? Neither side spares the other. You either shoot the fellow or you banish him, and the end of the story, because they don't take prisoners, nor do we. That is one issue he told us. Secondly, he said, of course, which was not done by Indians so much as was done by the Pakistanis. Apparently, they gouged out the eyes of our Indian soldiers. I want to know the reality. Is this really true? Is that how it happens?
Sir, I'll answer both your questions. Firstly,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. The observation made. You see, when we are in hand-to-hand combat, when we are in direct contact with the enemy of the ground forces, there is tremendous hatred, and there is very little human angle which comes in. So what that officer told you is 90% correct. 10%, of course, like I have been witness to the surrender on 17th in Khulna, and the Indian Army showed lot of empathy for the Pakistani prisoners. But this story about the gouging of the eyes and torturing is absolutely correct. It has happened to a schoolmate of mine. I'll give out his name also here today. There's nothing to hide. He was Lieutenant Chandavarkar of 45 Cavalry, my schoolmate from Sindhya School, Gwalior. We were together in war before in the concentration area at Kanchrapara. I was supporting his regiment 45 Cavalry. He was with the Alpha Squadron which went to Darsana and Kushtia sector. The rest of 45 Cavalry, less that squadron, was on our front for the Battle of Garibpur, capture of Jessore and capture of Khulna. Lieutenant Chandavarkar was tortured by the Pakistanis, and exactly what you mentioned was done to him. Unfortunately, this happened, and I must place on record that the Pakistanis have been very brutal in this particular aspect. As far as the Indian Army is concerned, I don't think, to the best of my knowledge, we have ever done this. Incidentally, we treated their prisoners very well. I was one of the junior most officers assigned the task of rounding up 55 Field Regiment of the Pakistan Artillery and 38 Frontier Force and 6 Punjab. I met their brigade commander, I met their commanding officers, and we had a cup of tea with them. They were very cordial with us, and I met the Pakistani soldiers who undoubtedly mentioned to me कि साहब अगर हमारे फौज में हिंदुस्तान के जैसे अफसर होते तो ऐसी हालत हमारी कभी नहीं होती. It was an apparent.
I've heard that before, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is a cap, a feather in the cap of Indian Army. That
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
most Pakistani people say, that is the Jawans and the other ranks and everybody, that if we had our officers like Indian Army, different game altogether. I've heard that before as well, sir, which goes as a great compliment to the Indian Army, I would say. Very well done, you all, because we can only fly few aeroplanes here and there and do some bombing. But finally, the control has to rest with the Army. Takeover has to take place with the Army, by the Army. Air Force or the Navy cannot take over. Very well done, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brigadier sir, for your wonderful commentary on this. And sir, was that person survived that brutality, Lieutenant Samir?
No, he was killed in action, and that was the end of him. Very sad story. Okay. He was a young officer, just a year older than me. I was just 20. He was 21 or probably 22. He was my schoolmate, and his father also was a lieutenant colonel of the British Indian Army, and his father unfortunately had died before the 71 war. So his mother brought up the two sisters, his younger sister. The family was shattered, and we never told the mother the news that he has been killed in action. She passed away 3 years ago at the age of 92, in the belief that he was a prisoner of war but not yet returned by Pakistan. Samir Chandavarkar's younger sister became insane. She's in a rehabilitation home. The youngest sister is alright. She's in Bangalore. I am in touch with her. The family was totally shattered.
Sir, even today,
salute to the brave heart.
Even today, we are being told that we have 42 pilots of 71 war held back by Pakistan and not returned. And we went and returned 93,000 soldiers of the Pakistan Army. We should not have done that magnanimous gesture unless all our pilots were returned. Some of those pilots were the married lot. The very sad thing that for donkey's years, some of the wives, one of them is a very famous, you might have heard of, V.V. Tambe, 85th course of the Air Force. His wife till date believes, she is now an old lady, but she still believes that he is held by Pakistanis. This is the life, terrible life as far as soldiers go.
Brigadier sir, if you can throw some light on this.
Yes, I'll tell you. In fact, sir, Damayanti Tambe I know very well, and
Yes, yes,
I know
Damayanti.
about Flight Lieutenant V.V. Tambe also, and I know Wing Commander Parulkar very well. I meet him in Pune. In fact, I was the MC or the Master of Ceremonies for launching of his book in Bombay. There was a great honor done by the corporate sector for the Indian Armed Forces in 2016. I know Dilip Parulkar very well, and this mention that you have made about this lady and people waiting for to come back, it is absolutely true. There are 54 Indian soldiers also, officers, JCOs and other ranks who are believed to be prisoners still with Pakistan. So
No,
this,
just an interjection. My
uh,
thought that besides having planned initial thrust by Indira Gandhi,
yeah, so you see what Nayyar sir was saying is absolutely correct. But the belief of 95,000 prisoners and all, in fact, I have done one day duty outside the prisoner of war camp also in Ranchi. This was in 1973 after we came back from the Western Front.
Yeah.
So 8 Madras was looking after the PW camp at Ranchi, Nampur, and it was just like if you have seen the movie Great Escape, the wire fencing, the searchlights, everything was like that. I was a newly promoted captain, and I happened to be there for one day. So I spent that night doing the duty of not exactly the duty, but I joined 8 Madras company, which was looking after the prisoner of war camp. So one has an idea, and the Pakistani prisoners have complimented the Indian Army. I know two officers who accompanied the prisoner of war train from Bangladesh into India, and their officers were all praised, Pakistani officers. Some of them are still in contact with our officers who attended to them in the prisoner of war camps. So I think India has been a very fair country observing the Geneva Conventions, which unfortunately Pakistan doesn't do. So that's a great lesson to be learned. And we, the ground forces, actually know what happens, because as all the Air Force pilots know, they complete their mission and go back. But I will not hesitate in saying that any war victory is a joint effort between the Army, Navy, and the Air Force, and that
Yes,
has been adequately proved in the
yes, sir.
1971
Absolutely
war.
correct. You are right, sir. Absolutely. Joint efforts.
So, absolutely a joint effort. The Army can't do anything unless the Air Force gives us their tremendous support, because they are the ones who carry out long-term interdiction, short-term interdiction, all the fighter bomber missions. So I think it's a great role. Even the airborne offensive could not have been done unless the Air Force. The helicopter pilots enable these special helicopter operations for the capture of Sylhet, the crossing of the Meghna River. So TBR Saab and Pathak Saab, when you plan the one lecture or two lectures that you plan,
Brigadier
invite Brigadier.
With you and
Yeah,
Brigadier
Brigadier Bombay.
Voglagis.
Yeah. He's the hero of the Battle of Hilli, where there were hundreds of casualties, and there were a number of Mahavir Chakra Award winners. There was gallantry shown by 20 years old and 21 years old. And the best part about our Indian Army is that the young officers lead from the front. Our frontline leadership, combat leadership, I think, will beat any army in the world. We may not have the same kind of weapons and equipment like the Americans or the Chinese or the British, but in hand-to-hand leadership qualities and the fighting capabilities, having fought the war in 71 and having seen what happened in Kargil, of course from a remote distance, I will unhesitatingly say that the Indian Army, Navy, and the Air Force are one of the finest in the world.
Great, sir. Very well said, sir. So it is not the machine, the man behind the machine that matters, and our officers led from the front always. So yeah, sir, Nayyar sir, please unmute and speak, sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I have only one regret,
Sir.
which I said that we should have kept a ransom like thing, 15,000 or 10,000 prisoners of war till we got all our prisoners of war back. Otherwise,
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Pakistan is a nasty, very nasty country, very nasty nation.
Yes, sir, you are absolutely right.
Absolutely, sir. But it was the decision of the government, not our military rulers, that made the difference.
Yes, I agree. That's why I'm saying that only one mistake Indira Gandhi made.
Sir.
That's a
Sir.
date we are paying. Okay, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Brigadier Apte sir, for your wonderful clarity on all these operations part, including that POWs. And yes, sir, Balinga sir, I think you are ready to ask.
Sir, we are proud of you. Your professional skill. You were picked up for Mr. PR aircraft. Also, you were picked up for Su-7 aircraft without any specific, specified thing. I got an opportunity to work with Su-7 at Ambala 222 Squadron when Wing Commander Hariharan was commanding and 32 Squadron Wing Commander Patni was commanding. So I got an
Okay, okay.
opportunity. Yes, sir. I would like to know Wing Commander Hariharan whereabout. Second point, sir. When you went on first mission to Eastern Sector, your aircraft was damaged by the Ack Ack gun and a lot of body was punctured at various places and you landed safe at Dum Airport. But during that operation, whether any damage was done in East Pakistan, that is I'm interested because since your aircraft got damaged. And then we
No, no,
appreciate.
yes, yes. We continued with our attacks because my aircraft was fully flyable.
Yeah.
So yes, that is how I said. Even in one of the attacks, not the first attack, second. The first attack we did whatever was the target, I'm forgotten. But in the first attack, pulling out of the first attack, I saw that ORP there at the ORP there was a Sabre aircraft. So immediately in the second attack, I attacked the Sabre aircraft. So many damages were done in the first day too. As a matter of fact, 3 Sabres were lost even before the war started by Pakistani Air Force. And thereafter, within first 2 days, remaining whatever Air Force in the East Pakistan they had was either neutralized or grounded. Nobody flew after that. That is why after I think 4th or 5th, not 4th, 5th or 6th of December, there was no air opposition whatsoever. We were only just making sure that nobody is behind us. But there was no air opposition, and that is how by 7th, as Brigadier Saab said, the army was told to move their unit. By 10th, we left, our squadron flew out to western sector. So a lot of damage was done. As a matter of fact,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a joint mission of Army, Navy, and Indian Air Force. And from Indian Air Force, Su-7, Hunter, and other cars played a wonderful role. And that role led
also,
liberation of East Pakistan. And
what they did was the Indian Air Force MiG-21 aircraft were also positioned at Panagarh. And if necessary, we would use them as our escorts. But mainly, what they were doing, they were moonlit nights during that phase. Mainly, they were moonlit nights. So these MiGs will take off at night with bomb load and go and attack the Dacca Air Fields, both Tezgaon and Kurmitola. So they were, I think, 10-15 miles apart from each other. So they were totally neutralized. So even if they had Sabre aircraft, they could not fly them because runways were full of big khaddas.
Okay.
And Air Force carried on doing that every 2-3 days, so that their airplanes cannot fly. So that's why they were neutralized.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think we have many other people waiting for this thing.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Balinga, sir. And Patek, sir, if you'd like to ask anything. General Patek, sir.
I am thankful to you, sir, for honoring my request and coming and giving us this wonderful narration. So it's a lovely session. Definitely, I am writing a book, and copy will be given to all the people, those who are participating, at free of charge. I'll definitely make sure that, and wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You are doing a lot for uniting all the people and celebrating 71 Golden Jubilee celebrations on Zoom call at a time when the pandemic is threatening the whole world. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And sir, anybody else who can raise their hand so that Naidu garu?
If you start distributing the book free of charge, how will you survive then?
No, Air Force taught him how to survive. Air Force taught him.
I will do that at least for the people, those who are writing, those whose articles are there.
Yeah, for the heroes, for all the heroes.
And
anyway, wish you the very best.
Yeah, Naidu garu, please.
Sir, I congratulate everyone who has participated in this, and I feel very, very proud. Side by side in 71 as well as 69, I was also working in Tufani, Mister, and later in MiG-21 aircrafts. Though I was not particularly in these squadrons which are mentioned by our heroes now, I was just besides working in these aircrafts. All my memories are getting now recollected, and we are so proud to hear from you. And it's a wonderful platform where so many heroes are assembling, and I personally thank our Brigadier Apte Saab having connecting Air Force and Army in our success story. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we all should be grateful to Apte sir giving wonderful.
Yes,
sir.
yes, yes.
CP Singh sir.
Sir, we are thankful to Wing Commander Nayyar sir. He is one of the hero of our country who gave victory to the India, who gave victory to the armed forces. And being hit aircraft by bullets, he brought safely landed bravery. And I thank Rao sir, Patak sir, and especially Brigadier Apte sir, who is contributing every time. And I thank all members giving their valuable contribution and increasing my knowledge by every meeting, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Then Raghavanji, okay.
Sir, my simple question to Wing Commander Dinesh Nayyar, sir. So there is a facility called, rather initially you are told that there was a huge noise and sound of the bullets were coming and your ear getting hot. That practice was there in small kit range at Halwara. The present reserve might be recently around 20 years back. Small kit range at Halwara and one more SK range at Pokhran. But similar facility was not there in the eastern sector for fighter pilots for the testing their guns and bombing.
Yes, there was. There was. I know. I have fired from near Halwara to ground, air to ground range, and I have used near Pune also. There is a range.
Yes,
And of course, in near Klaikunda, the range is either Dudgundi, which is for air to ground, and in near Klaikunda at Balasore, there is a range for which is for air to air firing.
air to air. Balasore it is there is air to air.
Yeah. So we have done firing everywhere. I mean, at least I was fortunate to be both in western sector and eastern sector at some time or the other. So we do practice firing, and as a matter of fact, there is something called every year there is at command level there is a gunnery meet where squadrons take part within the command for air to ground and more so air to air ground, but sometimes air to air also firing. And depending upon which squadron has done how well, it gets the trophy. That's how it goes.
There's some,
Hanji.
just give me 2 minutes, please.
Yes, sir. No, there was an incoming call.
I was in 26 Squadron during wartime. As I believe, we were covering the Cham sector also, where we made a lot of loss of aircraft. Is it true?
Which no, in 26 squadron.
Yes, sir.
What happened?
Cham sector we operated.
I have no idea of, because we were either in Panagar most of the war and then we shifted to Amritsar. Only those who were with Adampur or with the 26th Squadron would have the clear picture.
Okay, sir. Next, anybody, sir? Vasu, Mr. Vasu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And I congratulate him.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Wing Commander Bawal was our OC.
Okay.
And
That was
Air Commodore, in 71 war, Air Commodore Akhte was not there.
It was Air Commodore Ranbir Singh.
Yes, sir. So we were preparing about a year before the war, and we did not face any problem during war. Is it? Am I correct?
Yes, very much. And more, as a matter of fact, Air Commodore Ranbir Singh, who later became the CNC SWAC, and he was such a strict guy, in the squadrons. Local villagers used to be acting as tea club person or the other. They would walk through. He blocked all the fencing and he blocked everything. There was only one gate open. You had to come through that main gate only if anybody had to come or go out.
Okay,
he
sir.
was very strict.
Okay, next, Mr. Manjunath, if you'd like to ask.
The direction given by Wing Commander Nayyar was as if we were actually participating in the war today.
Yes.
It was very exciting, and I cannot describe. It's really exciting. Thank you so much for giving that first-hand experience of the war. Though while we were in Air Force, we couldn't.
Thank you, Mr. Manjunath.
I'll call you back on this number.
Cheney sir.
I am a very just a junior member of this war. So just I want to ask, sir, whatever I was in Ambala. So after war, about this, sir, whatever they have said about the POW. But in the afternoon, we used to put the radio on, and we used to hear on the All India radio that they were publishing all the POWs. They used to speak. That is, I am so and so, मैं हवालदार बोल रहा हूँ, अगर ये मेरी बात कोई सुन रहा है पाकिस्तान, तो वो अपने घर में अपने आदमी को बता दे कि मैं यहाँ पे ठीक हूँ, मुझे कुछ तकलीफ नहीं है. ऐसा like this they used to announce, and it was about 1.5 or 2 hours it was carrying on. So all the POWs, they used to tell about themselves that they are safe in India. And if someone is listening to them in Pakistan, they should convey this message to their relatives. So like this, if Pakistan would have been done, the POWs, those who are in Pakistan, if they were making like this system to announce the POW, so that we should have come to know that actually those who are there as a POW, we should have come to know, and their families would have been at least somewhat safe, or they could have fight about the future to make sure that they are coming back again to the India. But this has been not done, sir. Only this is what I have.
So they should have done. Pakistan's never played a fair game, always foul game only. Yes, sir. Nayyar sir, anything from your side?
They have not.
That's all. No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I think we, in fact, took the permission for half an hour. You were kind enough to be on the call almost for 2 hours. So thank you for your energy, and we acknowledge your greatness in continuing the call for such almost 2 hours without any break. Thank you, sir. We wish you a great health ahead, and so India always remembers the services you have rendered, selfless services.
Thank you, sir. All of you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, finally, Nayyar Saab, if you want to give any message to our air warriors from your
No,
message.
I think all I will want to say is that as Army and Navy and Air Force, we should not think in terms of Air Force or in terms of Army. We are all together as armed forces, and we should think that way. It is the coordination and cooperation amongst all of us.
Well said, sir.
And
well said.
On those lines only, now the CDS has been formed, Chief of Defence Staff, who will coordinate all the three forces. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
I hope so. I am not very sure, sir.
It will happen. Let us be optimistic, sir. It is good for our country.
Why not? Why not? Okay, even if it is not this, maybe the next one, we never know. Okay, sir. Bye-bye, and thank you.
Bye-bye, sir. All the best.